Thank you, Justin. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Thursday, April 17th at 3 o'clock, and that's the advertised time and place for the planning board meeting. Please join the board in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, everybody. We do have one public hearing today. Points East LLC Minor Subdivision. Greg, can you bring us up to speed, please?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the Planning Board. For the record, Greg Bergman, Senior Planner with the Riverhead Planning Department. And I do want to acknowledge I received for this public hearing the affidavit of posting and mailing, the required mailing notices, and the photographs showing the proof of posting. What we have is a public hearing for a 4-lot minor subdivision of land. The subject property is located at 455 Middle Road, Riverhead, New York, more particularly described as Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-84-1-6. Subject property is 2.05 acres in size. It's located on the south side of Middle Road. It is presently improved with an existing single-family residence. The proposed subdivision seeks to create a 4-lot minor subdivision utilizing transfer of development rights through the town of Riverhead, which is authorized by the town code. The proposed action is a type 2 action pursuant to SECRA. We did coordinate with SHPO on this as it was located in a potentially archaeologically sensitive area. I did receive correspondence back from SHPO stating that no archaeological impacts are expected from the proposed project. The property is located approximately 1,300 feet east of the intersection of Middle Road and Ostrander Avenue. The application will propose flag lots to serve lots 2, 3, and 4. They will be served by a common driveway. Have spoken with the applicant. He is working on preparing a grading and drainage plan for that proposed driveway. We did get comments back from the Riverhead Fire Marshal. There are certain requirements that need to be met in terms of the width of the driveway, construction of the driveway, ability to sustain weight of an emergency vehicle in the event of a fire. And the applicant is currently working with the Riverhead Water District. There is an easement that runs to the north and south through the property along the western property boundary, within which there is an existing distribution main from the Riverhead Water District that comes from the tank on 58 and connects to the Middle Road infrastructure. So the applicant is working with the Water District in order to determine if they're able to tap off that pipe to serve individual services to the house, as well as potentially locate a fire hydrant along that. Beyond that, everything else complies with all the requirements of the zoning code. The transfer of development right application is something that will be handled under separate application, and that will need to be completed and reviewed by the planning board, and there will need to be restrictions and covenants that would be filed on this property to record those receiving of those TDRs.
Do you know how many TDRs they need?
2 TDRs. It's essentially 1 TDR per additional lot.
Okay.
They go down to, the code allows you to go down to 20,000 square feet, even though it's within the 40,000 square foot zone. You're essentially doubling the density with the use of TDRs.
Okay.
Beyond that, pretty straightforward. The applicant is here if the board has any questions for him.
Thank you, Greg. Would anybody like to speak?
Yes, I will. I do. I just remember when we were here before, the last time it came in, we were worrying about the main, the water main.
Yeah, so the water main.
Number one, it's active?
So the water main is active. It is part of the distribution network for the Riverhead Water District. Again, they're working on, they need to determine the condition of the pipe, determine if it's suitable to actually tap off of, but again, that's something the applicant is working on with the water district. We obviously would not grant any approvals before we get formal comments from the Riverhead Water District, but they are working on identifying that issue.
Is there also a main in front of the property?
Yes, I believe there is a 12-inch main in Middle Road, and
Okay.
I believe it's a distribution line. I think
it's not a dead end. That's really all I was worried
I
about.
can handle a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went down to.
Excuse me, sir. This is a public hearing, so you have to give your name and address for the record.
Sean Morrison, 38 Mill Pond Lane, East Mauritius, New York. I'm the owner of the property. So I had a meeting at Riverhead Water Authority. I met with who was in charge there, and I think they brought in the pre-existing person who was in charge. Is it Corwin? I don't remember his name. So they brought him in because he understood the previous and the old lines of pipes that go through the town. So that is, I think, an 18-inch main that's surrounded by a 24-inch. And that was actually designed to expand some of the way the town was originally designed. When I spoke with him, he's like, you can likely tap a fire hydrant off if needed. You can also tap water lines if needed. He's like, and if we decided not that, there's a water main on Middle Road, and we can bring water lines up from that way. But he was able to find that information, and there's water from multiple sources.
Okay.
That water line is on the west side of the property. We are allowed to put a driveway over the top of it. We're not allowed to block it. We just have to allow them usage of the driveway if they ever have to service.
The house that's there,
Yes.
do you plan to take it down, or
So
just
we had
remodel it?
we had a meeting with the building department, and we're still not sure what we're gonna do. So it's possible we might rehab it, and there's a open permit to do so. The house is in pretty poor shape. However, across the street is an identical home that pre-exists and looks really nice, and we would probably try to reuse it, as much of that existing structure to make it look like it was original usage. And then behind there, 3 lots would be single-family homes. Pretty close to what the previous builder to the west did. There's a similar flag lot with 3
Yes.
lots up. We would probably be proposing something similar to that.
Thank you.
No
Want to add
problem.
anything else?
Not at all?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Any members of the board care to comment? All right, this is a public hearing, so Zoom folks have the right to chime in if they like.
We have no one on Zoom.
No one on Zoom. Board members, any other?
I move we close the public hearing?
Second.
Moved in second. Mr. Zolnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. De Niro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
And I vote aye. Motion carries to close the public hearing. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
We have 4 discussion items. I want to see who stands up for this one. The Henpecked Husband Farm Stand.
Unfortunately, the owner couldn't be here today.
Too embarrassed to show?
No, the property owner's name is Sterling Churgan. I think it's under Northwind Real Estate Holdings, but it's called Henpecked Husband Farms for
Okay.
anyone who's not familiar with the property. So we received a farm stand application to legalize a partially constructed farm stand building at 1254 Northville Turnpike in Riverhead, Suffolk County Tax Note Number 665-5-10. The subject parcel is a 15.9 acre parcel located on the west side of Northville Turnpike, about 950 feet north from the intersection of Northville and Doctor's Path. The subject property is engaged in bona fide agricultural production, and development rights have actually been sold to the town of Riverhead on the back half of the property. The owner did retain a 2.59 acre area along Northville Turnpike. That's where the farm stand is located. And unfortunately, because the farm stand was constructed without permits, he is a little too close to the property line, so not within the county right-of-way, but he's 13.3 feet from the property line. And our code doesn't define a setback for a farm stand, so we go by the principal structure setbacks, which would be 60 feet in APZ zoning. So he does need relief from the Zoning Board of Appeals. An application has been made, and he's set to be heard next week at the board's meeting, but I wanted to bring this to the planning board just to see if anyone had any questions. So the purpose of the farm stand is going to be unattended. They do want to sell, they grow numerous kinds of flowers on the property. They were doing wholesale. They're looking to do more of a retail, which again is permitted. They have a bona fide agricultural operation there. They'll be using well water to provide water for the flowers that are going to be, they'll do bouquets and I guess cut flowers there. There will be electric for the farm stand building, so obviously if they receive the appropriate relief from the zoning board, they'll come back for farm stand approval and then follow up with the building department with the appropriate permits. I referred it over to our town engineer just because they are installing a dry well in order to contain any sort of stormwater runoff. The town engineer requested that the applicant provide a detail and plan view of the proposed dry well, which he did. So there's an updated survey showing the location of the dry well, And the applicant also provided a narrative, like how deep it's going to be and how big, and Drew was satisfied with that.
So they started construction, did they receive a stop work order?
Yes, code enforcement issued a stop work order. He made an application to the building department, but he has to go through the proper process through the planning board to get the farm stand approval. So that's why I wanted to introduce it to the board first, then go to zoning board, and if he is granted the setback relief, he can come back for approval and hopefully be able to finish his farm stand before the season really starts.
I noticed that there's only 3 parking spots.
Yeah, so as discussed numerous times, there's no parking requirement for farm stands in our town code. If you were to go based solely on the size of the structure and go 1 per 300, which I think is our parking schedule, it's any use not specifically defined. I mean, he has more than enough parking there. Most farm stands, as we've seen, there's like a gravel area, the stalls aren't typically demarcated. They can also use the grass area. In this case, I'd want them to at least show an accessible stall, just one. But because this is unattended, I don't think they're gonna require that much parking. I referred it to the county, but they're not proposing any new curb cuts or improvements within the county right-of-way, so I'm not really sure what they're gonna come back with.
How do they take orders? I mean, if it's unmanned and people just drive in, there has to be somebody that can communicate.
Well, so I don't know if you're familiar with like Andrew's Farm Stand. They have, it's called an honor trailer, where they have things out during the winter or the off season, and they have like a little mailbox that people will put money in. I mean, it's pretty common among a lot of the smaller farm stands too. I mean, maybe they would have somebody there, like for Mother's Day, for example, if they're going to be open, to sort of like help people, explain to them what the flowers are. But again, I don't imagine it being a huge parking demand. So whether it's attended or unattended, I don't think, based on the size of the structure, I don't think it's going to be a large-scale operation.
What about signage, just?
They're not proposing any signage. Obviously, if they wanted to do a sign, they would have to go through the proper process with the building department. That's a completely separate application, and I imagine it would get referred to the architectural review board, so. I just wanted to get a feel for if you guys had any questions or requests.
Yeah, I think
that
they
way
should have a
can-
porta stand. They should have a porta stand on the property.
Oh, a porta potty?
Yes.
Okay, that's something. I think that's typically what most farm stands do that don't have on-site bathroom facilities, but I'll bring that up. This is all stuff that I want to bring back to the applicant, that way they can work on it in the interim, while they're going to the zoning board of appeals
When they go to ZBA?
next week.
Yep.
Heather, real quick, before he put the frame stand up, the farm stand, did he inquire to anyone about the footage away from the road, or he just?
No, not that, I mean, I think they had like a little, like a hutch on wheels there,
Right,
which we
okay,
don't,
right.
it's not something that they would come in for a farm stand application for, because they're bringing it in every night. So I don't know if he just assumed, I don't want to make assumptions on behalf of the applicant. It was referred to Ag Advisory. I have to follow up with Phil Schmidt. They had their meeting on Monday, just to see what they said.
And I understand there are a lot of farm stands that are close to the road, but this is pretty well built to be that close to the road.
Yeah, I mean,
You
it's
should've-
really under the zoning board's purview to, weigh the
Right.
balance, do the balancing test for the area variance. I know a lot of like smaller farm stands are closer, farther away. Again, it's difficult because I think for farm stands, they want the visibility, but there's no specific setback for farm stands in the code. They don't fall under accessory structure setbacks because it's technically in the front yard. So we just defer to the principal structure setbacks, and in APZ it's 60 feet.
I suspect that, given the name Henpecked Husband, his wife made him do it. Just guessing.
And Heather, can you explain the rail fence, the iron fence?
Yeah, so I included, because the back portion of the property was sold to the town, the farmland committee, all of the structures back there had to go through the approval process with them. So they approved an 8-foot post and wire deer fence around the entirety of the property, even within the retained area. And it was up there, and at some point he switched the frontage along Northville Turnpike to that black estate fence. It's the same height, but it's a different material, and I know he did go to farmland, and I'm not sure if they approved of it or not. that's something that I need to do some further investigation on, because if it's in the retained portion, technically he doesn't need farmland approval, but 8 feet exceeds the allowable fence height.
Should be 4 feet, right?
4 feet in the front, but we allow farms to have the 8-foot deer fence. But I think like in most
We
cases,
looked it up
it's-
before the meeting, and
Yeah.
there's really no criteria,
Yeah.
sadly, that says deer fencing.
Yeah. So that's something I need to do a little bit of homework on my end. But I included it in the staff report just so you're all aware.
Thank you.
And that fence that he just put in, Heather, it's far enough away from the road?
Yeah, it's wholly within his property, and I mean, technically, you can put fences right up to your property line. You just want to make sure you're not encroaching into the right-of-way. So,
Anything else, gentlemen?
anything else? That way I can give them a laundry list to look over.
No.
All right, so if they're successful with the zoning board, we'll be back.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. Stay right up there, Heather, because we have
Yeah.
item number 2, 47 Pelletrew LLC Farm Stand.
And I think Kim Judd is here on behalf of the applicant for this one. You want to come up, Kim?
Hello, Kim.
What?
Do you have the surveys? I think I might have put it in the ZBA file. All right, so this application is also for a farm stand. It's within an existing barn. It's located at 2241 Roanoke Avenue, Suffolk County Tax Number 600-42-1-24.2. So this is zoning board of appeals relief. It's a little bit of a different case. So the subject parcel is only 0.91 acres. So it doesn't meet the acreage requirement to have a farm stand under the eligibility criteria. However, the applicant, is part of a farming family. She has ground leases where she has acreage where, she's grown and will be growing her flowers, which will be for sale at the farm stand. Unfortunately, the way that the eligibility criteria is worded, because the ag production isn't happening on the subject parcel where the farm stand is, she needs to get relief from the zoning board of appeals for that. So, again, an application has been made, and the ZBA will be hearing this case at their meeting next week. So the existing barn has been there. It has a letter of pre-existing use, and this was actually part of a larger parcel of land that underwent a subdivision years ago. So at one point, if you can see on the survey here, there's Lot 2, Lot 3, and Lot 1. It was split into 3 separate parcels. Lot 1 is actually the applicant's own residential property. Lot 2 has the barn. And then Lot 3 is still wholly engaged in agricultural production. Oh, yeah, that would be great. So this is just to give you an idea of the size in totality. Lot 3, which is, I think, still under ownership of the family.
Where is Lot 3? Is that the northernmost?
No, it's on the west side of Roanoke. So Roanoke Avenue is here. This is going north.
Yeah.
Lot 2 is where the barn is.
Okay.
And then to the west, like behind everything, is that 50-acre parcel.
Oh, that's Lot 3.
That's Lot 3. So this, at one point, was all one property, but it got subdivided.
Okay.
So that sort of creates the issue, she wants to use the existing barn as a farm stand, but because of the eligibility criteria and the wording in town code, she needs zoning board of appeals relief, because it's not.
Where's the access to the lot number 3?
So if you look here, this is part of Lot 3,
Okay,
and then there's also here too.
okay. So it's not creating a landlocked
No.
piece, okay.
And at the parcel where the barn is has frontage along Roanoke Avenue. There's an existing curb cut and a stone driveway. Skip forward. I referred this to engineering. Drew had no comments. It's an existing structure. They're not proposing any sort of additions to it. She did provide ground leases for the leased farm parcels just to show that she meets the acreage requirements and, would be eligible for the ag exemption.
Does the facility have a restroom, or are you gonna use?
Yes.
It does have a restroom?
Yeah, the LPU is for the barn and the bathroom, so
Okay.
the bathroom is there already. I did inquire as to the, the location of the sanitary system, and the surveyor was able to show the approximate location of the sanitary system. I'm not really sure how old it is, but, it would benefit the applicant to know those details if there's ever an issue in the future. I did refer it over to Highway, just to see if Mike had any input. I haven't heard anything back, but again, the curb cut that's there is existing. They're not proposing any new parking areas. But in the application, it was demonstrated that they would be able to provide more than enough parking for vehicles. They have this area, the little turnaround here, and then the grass areas. But with the other farm stand application, I would also like to see an accessible stall delineated on there, and improved appropriately. There are certain types of gravel that can be used. And then this was referred to Ag Advisory as well, and they met on Monday. Were you there, Kim?
I was not, but my client was, and she said they were supportive.
Okay, so again, I'll follow up with Phil Schmidt and the rest of the committee to confirm.
I'm still confused as to where this is.
So do you know where
Okay.
the intersection of Sound?
No, just listen for a minute.
Okay,
Okay. I have a map here that says Young and Young, and it's Lot 2 and Lot 3, and then there's a map, there's a structure in the middle.
That's the resident.
That's the
her
residential
house.
lot.
So that's
Okay.
actually Lot 1 on the subdivision map. I think they included that just to give you an idea, like they live right next door to the
Okay.
proposed farm stands.
Okay. And then this then becomes the farm lot. This is the farm lot, right?
Does that say frame barn on it? Yes, that's
Yeah.
the farm, that's where the farm stand is gonna be within the
Right,
barn.
okay. Then I just didn't know where it was because I had another map, there's another one.
On your way home today, go north on Roanoke and you'll see it, right
I know
before you
where,
get to
I
the
know where it is.
intersection. But it's an old barn and she restored it. They received, I think, permits from the building department to do new electric in the bathroom and throughout the barn. I believe there were some other changes made that need to be followed up with the building department. But if farm stand approval is granted, they'll need a corresponding permit and CO for that. So I feel like that could all be handled under one permit.
Yeah, I have a question. It says on here, proposed uses, it says flower farm, farm stand classes, and barn events. Like, what are barn events?
I spoke with Peggy the other day, and I guess the Quilting Association, or I don't know exactly what, they've reached out because they want to do sort of a quilting festival. I informed her that would probably be handled through a special event permit through the town clerk's office if it's public. If she wanted to do private flower classes as accessory use to the farm stand, as long as the fire marshal and building department are satisfied with the safety of the building and they don't exceed whatever occupancy they're limited to, I don't think that would be an issue.
That was my concern, because it looks like there's plenty of parking, and it is a big barn. When it said barn, I was thinking weddings or something like that, how many people would you expect to have at a
Well,
quilting?
she's going to comply with the town code, so whatever the town code requires of her,
Okay.
she's very savvy, she does read it a lot, so she's aware of what the town code and what special event permit, what triggers a special event permit application, but she does live next door, so she's not looking to have like a 300-person wedding with one bathroom and her husband and her family living right next door to the property. But she is aware of code requirements and occupancy. The fire marshal will put an occupancy requirement, and she will comply with whatever the town code.
So they've been in touch with the fire marshals and everything as far as that?
Yeah. They'll have to
I have
follow,
not,
yeah.
she may have been, I know I have not been in touch with the fire marshal, but definitely through the site plan process, that's gonna be, I believe they already referred the application.
Okay.
So, and then we're going to the zoning board next week, so.
Yeah, so it's all predicated on the zoning board, if they grant the relief or not. And then they would come back, and if farm stand approval is granted, subject to whatever conditions, they would also need to move forward with the proper building and fire marshal permits.
Very good. Thank you.
Anybody else? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Happy Easter, everybody.
Same to you.
Same to you.
Let's move to discussion item number 3, EC Battery Energy Storage Project with Matt Charters.
Yeah, you guys come on. Thank you. Invite the whole gang up again.
Is that Paul over here? Okay.
You have that plan again, right in the middle, that'll be very helpful. Just watch the minutes. I don't want to get. Stephen, while we're setting up, if you can introduce everybody for the record,
Sure.
that'd be helpful.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. Stephen LaSquadra on behalf of EC Battery Storage, project on Edwards Avenue in Calverton, immediately adjacent to the railroad tracks. The developer on the project is Rhineland Energy. A principal of Rhineland Energy is here. He's immediately to my right. That's Gus Aditi. We have Walter Sieber from IMEG, our engineers and architects on the project. Should there be any questions that you might have regarding site layout or any particulars beyond what Matt is going to describe, and Walter will be very happy to answer those. And of course, we have to my left Paul Rogers from ESRG. Paul's a veteran of FDNY. Surely, by anyone's measure, the leading fire safety expert and consultant regarding battery energy storage projects in the country. Works very closely with Andrew Smith, your fire marshal. And Paul and I have also worked closely with Andrew and the fire commissioners of the Riverhead Fire District to explain the nature of the project, and also training that will come to be provided by the applicant in the future. Should you like any detail on that, again, beyond what Matt's going to say, Paul can address that with you, and I'll certainly supplement that as needed. So that's who we are here now. And again, based on what Matt has to say, we'll certainly add to that.
Good. All right. I distributed a staff report to you guys all in the packet. I know it's a little bit long, but I think it was a good exercise to get everybody familiar with Tier 2 battery energy storage systems. The board is not aware, in 2023, the town did adopt a code largely based on the NYSERDA model code with some added restrictions that are a little bit more Riverhead specific to sort of beef it up to allow these uses within the town. This application in particular has been in for a little while. It did get caught in the industrial moratorium that was in Calverton while we did the compound update. That's lifted, so they've done some revisions to make sure everything is compliant, and it's been working sort of in the background and are now before you. This application was discussed before the town board this morning at work session because it does require a site plan and a special permit. Town board obviously has a permit. Half of the operation, you have the site plan due to its location.
So what's the procedure? Who goes first?
You can really review concurrently. Obviously, you guys can't make a decision until the town board grants special permit approval. I mean, it's really at the applicant's risk to proceed with both. However, from what you saw in the staff report, I want to say probably 90% of the code provisions that we have in place are met or exceeded. There's some tweaking that we need, but it largely complies to the supplementary code that we have. Just to familiarize everybody with the site and what they're seeking, this is a 60 megawatt or 120 megawatt battery energy storage system. So how that works is, to my basic understandings, they purchase power from the grid, usually when production is high, demand is low, and then it gets put back into the grid when demand is high. Lithium-ion technology, which are batteries everyone should be familiar with at this point in time. They're in consumer products, they're in electric cars, hybrid cars, pretty much all aspects of your daily life. The site itself is a 1.66 acre parcel on Edwards Avenue, as Stephen mentioned. Currently it has the headquarters for the Long Island Farm Bureau, and there's a service garage behind it. Everything is proposed to be removed. The point of interconnection is right behind this site, so they'll be connecting to the grid via underground conduit to that substation that's right there. To the north, there's a bulk fuel depot. Across the street, there's a cabinet maker, and the Hampton Jitney bus depot's further up the road. Railroad tracks right to the south. Just beyond the railroad tracks, there are some residential parcels. So in the staff report, it's pretty explicit. as to what they need to do. In terms of secret, this is an unlisted action where this board is named as an involved agency. The town board has requested lead agency. It's staff's recommendation that the town board assumes lead agency, unless the planning board feels like they need to be, which I don't, I don't think that's the case.
No.
Situated, this is in the CI zoning use district, which is battery energy storage is a permitted use in that zone. So going through the code compliance, which starts on page 4, most things are pretty much complied with. Starting on page 5, we'll just need an accurate quantification for lot coverage, which is an engineering thing, just because we changed our definition of impervious coverage. This use does allow up to 75% impervious, so they'll most likely fall right within that allowable impervious coverage. In terms of screening, they show a 5-foot buffer around the outside. Apologize, everyone's heard this whole discussion this morning. I'm asking for that to be just a little bit more dense. Probably 10 feet's a little bit better. They'll have to maybe condense a little bit on site to meet that standard. But in terms of screening, it looks good. There's also a nice buffer on the road, which will help screen the facility, similar to what we do for our solar installations, where there's a nice dense evergreen buffer so you won't be able to see the property. Moving on to page 6 is where we talk about accessory versus principal uses. A tier 2 system could be either. In this case, it's a principal use. Letter D of the code is avoidance areas. So this is one of the things we added to our code, areas where these uses wouldn't be appropriate. So flood hazard zones, open space areas, parcels containing primary soil, historically or culturally significant resource areas, designated conservation areas, scenic corridors, or within jurisdiction of any wetlands. This site is not within any proximity to any of those avoidance areas, so that's a good thing. In terms of submission, we do have a site plan application and the special permit, which you will be, as I said earlier, reviewing the site plan application. So in that application, we have requirements that are specific to battery energy storage. One is a commissioning plan. This is a requirement of the uniform code, so they have to get commissioned before their final inspection for building before they can essentially go live. That'll be a requirement of any approval this board or the town board makes. On to the next page, we have a fire safety compliance plan. That'll need to be, in a final form before an approval is issued. The fire marshal has started reviewing that operation and maintenance manual we have, and an erosion and sediment control plan. This project will need a SWIP because it's over an acre of disturbance, so he'll need approval from that for the town engineer. In terms of fencing, they meet the fencing requirements. It's going to be fully enclosed with a security fence to keep people out, which is a good thing. Keep the site secure. There's safety requirements in terms of signage. Those are ANSI standards to let everyone know this is like a high voltage installation and to warn anyone's that's there. Lighting is really, I think, for safety and emergency only on site. It's dark skies compliant. Noise is one thing I've asked for more information on, which I've since received from the applicant, because so there's noise associated with fans that are in all these units, but also the switchgear and the transformer do make a significant amount of noise, which I'm sure the board's aware from the solar installations that we have. The preliminary sound study that we have indicates that with the residents that are to the south, the sound levels will be just about the same as the normal everyday sound levels. Vegetation and tree cutting, again, just more discussion about the buffer, and then what's combustible or not. I have that referenced in here. And then, let's see, we're on page 10. These are all standards that have to meet before a building permit, really with the emergency response plan, so that'll be in tandem with the fire marshal that'll have to get approved. Decommissioning, so we did get comments back from the consulting engineer on the decommissioning plan. Again, this is something that happens more towards the end. There's a decommissioning requirement, which basically says how you're going to dismantle the site, the method of disposing or recycling of all the materials, and then a cost analysis prepared by a professional engineer.
Is there a normal life to this site?
I believe 25 to 30 years is the estimate, if I understand correctly.
20 years.
20 years?
Book says 20
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
I had a couple questions too, Matt.
Yeah.
Walter, you're from AKRF, is that correct?
No, I am not.
IMEG.
Oh,
IMEG.
okay, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
The engineer.
No, I read this cover to cover, and
Yes.
it's pretty pretty comprehensive, I would
Yes,
say.
that's the enhanced environmental analysis.
Yeah.
That was done by
I
AKR.
actually took the time to read it. And in this document, probably 100 times, it says Tier 2. What's the criteria for Tier
So,
2?
so tier two, that's a code requirement for us, that's over a certain kilowatt hour.
Oh, kilowatt, okay.
Yeah, so it's
All right, I didn't
over-
understand what that was. It
yeah.
was in there numerous times.
Yep. Which are these grid scale ones that are considered a,
Well, I guess for Walter, Paul, right?
Yes.
The proximity to the fuel farm, just to the north of it, is that an issue to be concerned with, or?
Yeah, the fire marshal has said also, he wants us to conduct a heat flux analysis based on UL 9548 testing, large-scale fire testing, where they actually put a worst-case scenario there, and they grab a lot of data. One of them happens to be heat release rates, and then that's something that we have to prepare.
Oh, okay, that's coming?
yeah.
That's coming.
Yeah, it's something that Andrew requested. My next section, I have all of my referral comments. So what Andrew basically asked for is a fire safety analysis for this site in relation to the
Fuel
the
farm,
bulk
okay.
fuel storage.
Yeah. Are there any kind of waves emitted, like microwaves or any other kind of waves emitted?
Nothing that comes out of the EMF studies that we've done in the past shows any magnetic waves coming out of this project.
And it says the boxes have a 2-hour burn rate. Did I read that correctly?
A 2-hour energy rate.
Energy rate.
Oh, it's an energy
Energy,
rate.
yeah.
Okay, I understand. The other thing, how is, I guess Vinnie Gaudiello is going to determine, how is he going to determine something that's going to be torn down 20 or 30 years?
So their engineers, this is a typical thing that we do this with solar too. There's a percentage you can assign in terms of cost on how much it would do now and then a future cost.
Okay.
It's not atypical, so it's an easy thing for.
I'm sure we'll have plenty of questions, but that's all I have right now.
In terms of referrals, so this has been under review for a little bit of time. So we did get comments back from SHPO in January saying that there's no effect on any archaeological or historic resources in the area by this application. The town engineer did need some revisions to the plan and also noted that this requires a SWIP. DEC noted that this is not within the Wild and Scenic Rivers area and there's no freshwater wetlands within jurisdictional area, but there are northern long-eared bats within 3 miles, so we'll have the tree clearing requirements that you can't cut down trees between March 1st and November 30th. This went before the Suffolk County Planning Commission in February, in which they voted to approve with conditions. Number one was Suffolk County Planning Commission finds that first responder training is essential for any new BESS system, so they want hazmat training. So this is something that was in, so if the board's not aware, there were several incidents, 3 incidents in the state related to battery energy storage in the last few years, 1 in East Hampton, 2 upstate. What came from that is called the Fire Safety Working Group, which studied the root cause of these fires and determined recommendations to the fire code, which Paul actually worked on that, and one of those recommendations was to mandate that hazmat training is provided to local emergency first responders for municipalities where these things are cited.
And that would be from the fire marshal?
Yep. Fire marshal and the fire district. Yep.
Who did they get?
Mr. Bear, I could mention in that regard that Paul and I have already met with the fire marshal, with Andrew, and also with all the commissioners of the fire district. And one of the things that the town board requested, which we're happy to agree to, is that in addition to the specific training, that by the way will be ongoing, that Matt just referred to, we'll also bring in, as they wish, other neighboring jurisdictions, so Wading River, Manorville, Jamesport, they'll all be invited as well.
This training is done on site, or do you guys have a facility somewhere where firemen go to train?
It's on site.
Yeah, and what we'd like to do is a mixture of both, right? Where we may have some indoor training and then eventually go out and do a walkthrough of the actual site so they can see.
So once the site's complete, or is it like ongoing training as you're building it? These guys are being trained if something was to
Through the
happen?
construction phase, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it becomes a little bit more precarious during the construction site, so we don't like to bring people on during the construction phase of it. But we could possibly give them an update on when the batteries become live. When they're actually brought to the location, they're usually about 30 30% stated charge as per the US DOT shipping regulations.
Right.
But they're not being charged back and forth to the grid yet. They're just dormant at the time.
Well,
But they still have
assuming
a
that
stated
there's
charge.
even a construction accident while this is being
Sure.
built.
Sure.
And these guys, they're not particularly going to a fire, but they're,
Right.
And that is something that we I'll make that recommendation that New York City does, where they have, in the event of a construction action, there's an 800 number they call the subject matter expert, which was something that was included already in the 15 recommendations that was mentioned before, where they'll have someone that can assist the fire department that has to be there within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
you could provide somebody there that fast?
The code says 4 hours. The code says a 4-hour time. You could be there within 4 hours, but they said the maximum amount. 15 minutes on the phone, that's considered immediate in the code world. So immediate could be, pretty quick, but they give up to 15 minutes as considered immediate.
These are all part of the recommendations that came out of what Matt referred to as the New York State Working Group. The state fire code now is being enhanced. Paul was one of the critical people involved in helping write this new proposed code. The code is now actually set, so we're just waiting for adoption. But when it's enacted, which should be relatively soon, it'll be the strictest in the country. So that will apply here. Another thing I'd mention too, with respect to getting ready and getting people familiar, yesterday Paul and I were in Staten Island with Andrew, and that was a 2-hour site visit at a functioning facility. So it's a battery energy storage facility in Staten Island that's operational, and we had a very detailed walkthrough yesterday so that he could see firsthand how this works in a situation that's actual and not theoretical.
Okay.
All right, so second condition from the planning commission was just rather than, I think, seeing the water permeate through the site because they have gravel now, they wanted catch basins, just in terms of this is in this special groundwater protection area, in case of an emergency and there's heavy metals or something from the batteries that are going into the groundwater. I'm actually going to reach out to them for more specifics in that regard. They'd also like to see a demolition and recycling plan. These are in the comments now. Incorporation of all the draft fire code language, which the applicant has already told you that they're complying with. Moving on to our consulting engineer. Still, same thing, more revisions. They just need all existing utilities shown on the plan. And then more specifics in terms of the decommissioning plan, a detail of the sound wall. They need to include the cost construction estimate in the decommissioning plan, and Vinnie also noted the requirement for a SWIP. Riverhead Fire District, we got comments back in February, expressing their concerns of the proximity to the site to the fuel storage facility, and the need for a vehicle, which the applicant can speak more to that. And then fire marshal, again, just that they're asking for a fire apparatus staging area outside the fence so they can essentially establish a command post if there is an issue at the property that's safe, at a safe distance. And then hazmat training as well. That's really it at this point in time. Like I said, this is our very first step. I have no action before this board today. The applicant's here to answer any questions. They're moving through the special permit site plan process. We just have an acknowledgement that you guys don't want lead agency for seeker. We can do that via a memo to the town board. And I think that's it from me, so
Before we get, Matt, I just have 3 quick questions.
yeah.
You had who owns the property just to the east of the proposed site?
To the,
Now, I know there's a substation there. You were saying there's going to be underground conduit?
yeah, so I think it's LIPA that's right to the back.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah,
All right, so they own that piece in between the substation and the proposed?
yeah.
You don't need an easement then?
They'll need an easement, for sure, from LIPA.
We'll work with LIPA.
Yeah,
Yep.
to underground the
Oh, okay.
utilities, yeah.
On the, in case something happens and you have to have a removal, or if the company goes out of business, is there a bond?
Yes, that's the decommissioning fund.
Yeah.
So they establish, that's like the future fund we were talking about earlier, so they'll establish the cost now of what it would be to decommission the entire site.
Right.
Well, and then there's a cost factor that's applied for, to establish what the future cost would be. And it establishes who would be responsible for doing the decommissioning, which is the
And my last question is, Gentlemen, these are volunteer firemen. And in case of an emergency, they're supposed to have hazmat, training,
Yeah.
and you guys will pay for that? Are there any salaries going to be paid out for an emergency, something like this?
Not to my knowledge, I mean, it's just that, it's
But
the
do you know
one-
where I'm getting, they're volunteers, and then you're asking them to go into a situation that could be extremely, that you don't deal with every day.
Yeah, I think it
Well,
should,
what we did, well, I should say this, Andrew arranged for us to meet with all the commissions of the fire district. I would never presume to speak for them, because obviously they'll speak to you, I'm sure, as well, and
Right, right.
I know you folks know most, if not all of them, but I would offer that they were very satisfied with the meeting. Their principal interest was training. They're very comfortable with the fact that Paul and his team will provide it. Paul's with ESRG, that's the Energy Safety Response Group, and they are the leaders nationally, and they're former very high-ranking FDNY officials. So that training will be, as we said, provided and ongoing will be given. Another request that they had as well, which was important, was their principal concern was that they wanted to invest in a particular vehicle, equipment, that they earmarked at a certain price point. And they said they thought it would come in about $80,000, $90,000. So what the applicant committed was that the applicant would provide $100,000, just to take into account that prices could fluctuate. And this way, then they'll be able to purchase the exact vehicle that they want to buy. So that commitment has already been established, and Andrew was present when that was done with the commissioners.
So there'd be a designated vehicle just to respond to an incident at this site?
But I imagine they could use it for other purposes as well,
Yeah.
and that would be good if they could do that, because the better they could use it, better for them. But certainly the vehicle that they want is what they'll now be able to purchase.
Okay, I think my question was, there's no other compensation to the town in case of this type of fire?
I think it's just the nature of fire districts on Long Island, they're all volunteer, and there's not really much we can do in that regard, it's just a function of how they're established.
I'm just
Yeah.
asking you because I don't think anybody has an idea out here
Yeah.
in case something like
Understood.
that happens.
I can add to that if you'd like. And we addressed this in the codes. Two of the three incidents, one in Warwick, New York, and the other one up in Jefferson County, which is Chemont, New York, upstate by the Canada border. I responded to both of those, and they were both volunteer fire service people. They took a defensive action, actually did the right thing during that particular time. But we talked afterwards, and we knew that we were going to actually fortify the codes at that particular time, and we sat down and we asked them what they would need, and they understood that they would still be there running the incident, right? They're the incident commander, but they didn't want to wait there later on. Sometimes when they do fail, if there is a fire that takes place, it may go dormant for a while, but it could come back to life. So they didn't want to sit on there for watching this thing. So this is exactly why we put this SME hazard support group together to take over on that handoff. So this way they wouldn't be tied up watching this thing, wondering if it's going to go back on fire.
Just one more quick question. Has any one of these ever been built so close to the railroad tracks where vibration or would be an issue? But yeah, it has?
No, that's a great question where,
There is one
There-
in Corona, in Queens, that is right next to the subway, abutting a church and a school.
Okay.
It's a smaller facility. I think it's about 5 megawatts.
Because sometimes
6
buildings, as
megawatts.
they age, with the vibration from the trains going, I mean, we don't have that much train traffic out here, but still,
they do have to abide by in the fire code, the seismic. So they do have to abide by that. And the battery energy storage systems are tested to seismic.
so that's all taken into consideration, right?
It is taken into consideration as per the fire code. And like Gus said, there's one literally 10 feet away from a train on Long Island Railroad
Corona?
in Queens.
That's right.
Okay.
So these battery packs are set strictly on concrete, not on any type of spring system?
That's
No,
right.
Yeah,
They
they're
sit
just
on
on
concrete
concrete.
slabs.
Strictly
yeah.
on concrete
Yeah.
slab.
You can have them on grade as well. That really depends on the geotech.
Okay.
On your drawing, what is that box that's in the corner?
That's a transformer. That's how you step up the voltage from the site's voltage, from the power conversion. So maybe just to walk you through how this whole thing works. The smaller refrigerator-sized blocks that you see right here, those are what we call the energy storage units. This is where you store the energy in DC form. This is called an inverter or a converter. This is how you transform energy from DC to AC and AC to DC. This right here is a transformer. So energy is stored in DC form. It goes through the power conversion system, which steps up the voltage to about 34.5 kV. And then it goes through the main transformer that steps up the voltage up to 138 kV to match the voltage within the substation.
And so is this a gradual thing, or is everything going to be, do you have to gradually get all of the power, or is it instantaneous? In terms of I see that there's a number of site drawings, or what do we call them?
The battery blocks.
Yeah,
This all will be built at once, and then when it operates, you're essentially storing energy on a duration basis. So it takes 2 hours to charge and 2 hours to discharge the system.
but
So-
each one of them will be manned, not manned, charged at the
That's
same
right.
time?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
So you can think of this whole system as being a water tank or a water tower. Fill it up when there's excess energy or
Right.
excess water, when there's a drought.
Well, I'm just thinking that you got to fill it
That's
first, all right?
That's right.
Do you guys plan to take any of the electric from the solar panels across the street?
We operate on a transmission level, so we buy and sell our energy on a transmission level, and that's on a different level. So we work with the New York ISO on buying and selling of power.
Okay, but in the future, if you don't know?
Ultimately, this becomes a complementary system for wind and solar. So the idea behind, or the notion behind battery storage right now is the focus is resiliency and transmission fortification by installing these systems to boost the transmission system on Long Island. But as wind and solar becomes more prevalent, then what you do is you're essentially levelizing that non-base load production of energy. You don't know when the sun's going to shine, when the wind's
Right.
going to blow. There's a lot of volatility in production. You come in and you levelize that using battery storage.
All right.
Anything else, gentlemen? Okay, thank you for
All right.
updating.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank
Happy
you.
Easter.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Be in touch, we'll set up a follow-up.
Losing my audience.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Same to you. Okay, discussion item number 4, 1080-1120 Old Country Road facade renovations with Marissa.
Marissa, don't be nervous.
Nice to meet you.
If everyone who's here could just introduce themselves. I'll start. Jacqueline Pronto, principal owner of Key Civil Engineering. I'm the site engineer for the project.
I'm TJ McKeever. I'm a project manager for Bricksmore Property Group, the owner of this property. I'm a construction project manager.
Frankie Campione, principal with the architects for the architects.
What's your first name, I'm sorry?
Frankie
Frankie.
Campione.
Thank you.
And introduce yourself.
What's your first?
Here.
Marissa Trojanowski. Site plan reviewer. Yeah.
All right, what do you got, Marissa?
So The planning department received a site plan application for, entitled 1080-1120 Old Country Road facade changes. It's for the property located at 1080 Old Country Road, also known as Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-108-3-18. The site plan application is seeking approval to perform the exterior modifications. That includes facade improvements to an existing multi-tenant commercial building within the Roanoke Plaza Shopping Center. Some of you also might know it as the old TJ Maxx space. The proposed alterations will utilize the existing entry doors, curbing and walkways, and it's to provide an additional two front door entrances with a new ADA curbing to the existing retail space. And then also there is a side exit door. They are looking to replace that with a metal staircase and railing and redo the door. A little bit of information about the site. It is approximately 75,000 square feet, all multi-tenant retail building. There's also a approximate 12,000 square foot building where the Chase Bank is, and then there is another approximate 12,000 square foot detached building, and that is currently where CVS is on Route 58, and it is within the shopping center zoning district.
Is the facility going to be paved? Parking lot?
Yes. So it's currently improved, paved, and then the exterior facade of like the curbing.
No, I meant like the actual asphalt surface. Are they repaving this site?
Oh, no, that is not being proposed currently. So the proposed concrete walkways and curbings are to be ADA compliant. Modifications for this facade improvements entail new paint, stucco, and concrete finishes to the existing storefront, and then additional two proposed storefronts as well. The new doors and windows are to replace like in kind of the existing storefront and create the additional spaces. And then, like I said before, the existing exterior exit located on the northwest side of the building is to be removed and replaced with the metal stairs and railing, and the doors to be within like and kind. Currently, the site, we noticed that the lighting would need to be upgraded into the section, the town code with the dark skies compliance. The light fixtures throughout the parking lot are currently too high than the maximum permitted. So we noticed that while doing the review, we looked over the whole site and noticed that they are way above, and we were looking to make the parcel into the
Dark sky compliant?
Yes, correct. Thank you. Which the height is usually 16 feet from level ground, is the highest point is 16 feet. Also as well, the property currently shows areas of landscape islands and locations throughout the site, but it was noted throughout the site that some of the landscape locations showed some plantings and other places were bare. So we are asking just for a little bit of like a facelift, so to speak, an update, just adding a little bit more plants to the landscaped areas.
What about some of these curbed areas that look like they need repair? You gonna be fixing those?
So,
Happy to,
Yeah.
once you're done.
you're more than welcome to, if you wanted to answer his question regarding the curbing.
Sure, so generally, the project is just consisting of taking the one large TJ Maxx tenant and breaking it into 3 separate retail tenants, so no change in use, retail to retail. And in doing so, adding in the new doors and storefront and providing ADA ramps in front of those doors. So we did look at all the handicap parking that's in front and make sure that there's some new signage to bring them into current code compliance for the parking stalls that front the tenant space, and then the ramps and sidewalks. So within that area, there'll be some new curbing. But throughout the entire shopping center, our intent was not to, go through the entire shopping center and repair various, we didn't walk the entire center. We're focusing strictly on this end cap.
Well, I just noticed that in the project report, that there was, figure 7, it looks like a pretty barren and used curve.
I think the request is to add some plant material there, and we're happy to do that. It's a pretty narrow landscape strip, so I'm thinking it would probably be like a sedge or a grass of some sort that would be able to survive there. So we can send our landscape architect out to the site and take a look at all these areas and then propose some plant material to fill in some of the gaps. Potentially, it's also the time of year where a lot of the perennials are not yet blooming, so it's possible that within a couple of weeks, we'll start to see a little bit more plant material
Hope so.
pop up.
Let's hope so.
The one clarification that I wanted to make on the landscaping is that I don't want to as-built every plant and shrub that exists in the shopping center. That's quite an arduous task, but we are happy to, do an inventory and then identify additional plant material to be added. That would be acceptable.
Further in the staff report, I did note something of that nature. I also just wanted to state that we did bring this to the Architectural Review Board in regards to the facade improvements, and it was at the March 26th meeting. The board requested additional information as it is, the proposed project is currently the one, I would say, the northwest section of the building. And I believe the ARB requested to see what it would look like overall for the whole building itself, as they were just mainly focusing on one section, but they wanted to see how it would
So
work with everything.
the architect's here with us, and they did email me this morning an updated set of elevations, so we will formally resubmit that back so ARB can look at it.
Would you be able to put it up on the camera, just so everyone can see?
Oh, look at that.
So it's across 2 pages. But, yeah.
There we go. All right.
So you're just handling the left
Yeah,
portion.
TJ Maxx left us, so we just wanted to figure out a way to bring new businesses in, and that's by breaking it up into 3 new tenant spaces.
It doesn't look like you're changing the front elevations very much at all. And that shopping center was renovated not too long ago, if I remember correctly.
Yep, yeah, TJ Maxx expanded recently. We changed the roof a number of years ago. The facade changes here are really just giving increased presence to the 2 tenants we're adding, and then the tenant fashion deals to the left, that's actually work that's proposed and performed by the tenant that's going to be taking that space, which I think the building department just recently submitted an application for.
Yep, the other thing that, in my opinion, is drastically needed, because I go to this plaza quite a bit, is trash receptacles in front of both buildings, permanent trash receptacles with some kind of plan to maintain them, because it's really bad out there. There's garbage and papers blowing around constantly there. If you could look into that. And if you bring it up to, bring the plaza into dark sky lighting,
So
I'm happy.
Yeah,
I just wanted to mention about the lighting, because when I brought it up to TJ, he was surprised. Back in 2019, they had hired a consultant to do a lighting upgrade, I guess, in being aware of the code change back then.
Unfortunately, the consultant had just replaced all the heads and put in the proper LED 3000K color lights, but maintained them at the existing pole height. So height is really the issue here. We are going to look at a lighting plan to bring those down, but we're dropping it significantly to 16 feet. And in a large shopping center like this, you know, we don't have residences around us or
There's
nearby.
an apartment complex back, and those lights between the complex and you are out of control.
Along the property
Walmart did
In the
it,
back of the center.
yeah, off the building. It's really bad. Take a look at it at night. Walmart did it. They have no light, no uplighting off their lights. It can be done. And some of those big lights in the back, if you don't want to change them out, you can turn them off. But that parking area that you guys have is one of the biggest abusers in town. And the law has been codified many years ago. I know because I helped draft
Yeah,
it.
they were trying to go back through the history to understand
Yeah.
what happened, because it sounds like they were trying to do the right thing back then.
Yeah, and it was sunset for 15 years. And you're still not in compliance, so we have to work on that.
And just so I know and can report this back to my higher-ups, so it's mostly that you've noticed the light poles along the property line or the building
The
mounted
lighting.
Both.
In the entirety.
If you go
So-
by there at night, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The
So the-
lighting is, and if you go out on Sound Avenue, you can see the glow, from your parking field.
So the fixtures that had the LED lights, that they were switched out, the poles themselves, I think, are almost 30 feet, which is well in excess of the maximum 16 foot. And then the other lights that are in compliance they're not downward facing, they don't meet, like Ed said, the building mounted fixtures are way too bright. So we understand, you're coming in for facade work, but, Marissa correctly noted in her staff report that this is an issue that needs to be fixed, it has to come into compliance. And we try to do that as applications come in.
Yeah. Understood.
And I think TJ was asking if there's, so if the plans are, if we submit the drawings for the approval of the board to show all of that lighting, is there any way that the planning department can work with them in terms of the installation of it and performing the work? Or will the CO, can the site CO be pulled a little separately from the tenant interior renovation work so that the tenants can continue with filing applications to building and doing?
We've had applications like this before, and we tend to want to keep them all together in one project, not separate them out like that.
Well, it is one project from the eyes of my company, being that it's the 3 tenant spaces that we're breaking it up into. And, I want to give the town whatever leverage it needs to enforce, and I will echo the sentiment that you guys are giving me here today to the people who can make these things happen at my company. So we want to comply, we want to get there and have it comply. I can tell you that currently my mandate and my project budget can't support finishing it right at this moment, but I want to be able to, I want it to happen. My thought, and Jackie was kind of alluding to this, is that maybe a CO for the middle tenant space, or one of the tenant spaces being tied to complying to that dark sky compliance regulation.
Yeah, unfortunately, the law for dark skies, I think, was passed in 2005.
Yeah, and it's sunsetted
You had
in
the ability to comply
2017.
Until 2017, so the board usually takes the strong position that it's a condition of approval that has to be met prior to CO.
It's not our
And
opinion
just define
that we
CO
want it to happen,
being
it's in the
the sign
code.
off of the facade.
We've gone so far on other applications we've done prior to the signature of the Mylars, prior to the signature of the plans, because otherwise we're just kicking this can down the road.
Yeah, down the road.
again.
Yep.
To the
Fortunately, we lose
to
the-
the chairman's point, when the code was adopted, they gave applicants and commercial property owners 10 years to comply, saying that it could be done in 10% increments, so that you're not gonna have a huge upfront cost, but now we're nearly 20 years down the road.
Yeah.
We've got to just take that position.
Could I ask for clarification? You mentioned it's dark sky requirement, and
Yeah,
I'm
so-
not familiar with the code.
It's art, yeah.
So if we take care of the shielding or change the lights in the back of the building, sounds like to me, and I'm not the site engineer, so apologize, but if we take care of the poles in the back of the building and the building lighting in the back of the building right now, which seems to be the the comment that you said it's just way too bright for the neighboring apartments. If the front doesn't, if those heads that are in the front, if the heads comply with dark skies, does the front have to be changed as well, even though the height doesn't meet your current ordinance?
Yep, has to be height, so it's 16 feet to the lowest light emitting portion of the fixture, that's the maximum height, and then 3,000 Kelvin or less.
So it's not necessarily a dark skies requirement.
It's a dark
is
skies.
it?
It's in
a
that
code
section of
requirement,
code.
It's a code.
yeah.
is really the way to say it. It's the code. I mean, the option would be to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a height variance,
Yeah.
which I presume would not be looked favorable.
I mean, if
because
Home
if
Depot
the
was
head-
looking to do the same thing, and
Yeah.
they are gonna be coming in with compliant lighting.
Yeah,
The
so
board knows.
just so you're aware, we've had other applicants that have changed the heads and just cut the poles so they're.
Yeah,
appropriate
Staple
height.
Shopping Center.
You know, what's
Yeah.
gonna happen is when that happens, you're gonna get dark spots. You're gonna have to
Understood.
add additional poles and lights to fill
Yeah,
in the blanks.
exactly.
And it's not always so easy as just, because of the spacing of 60-foot
understand.
drive aisle, bays between parking, it's not gonna be so easy to just plop one where you want it. And it might end up being a whole new thing. But there's some lease commitments with Ross, you've received the application already from Ross, so you're aware that they're moving quickly and they need to get in there, and it's a new presence for them on Long Island. So there's a lease commitment, which is TJ's concern, of being able to meet with that one tenant. So, again, that's why we're just trying to think of a way to, can that one tenant, be able to continue to move forward, and, the other tenants and facade work be held, because we understand where, and you have to, neither of us were part
Yeah,
of
we want
part
you
of
to
the
be
decisions
successful.
made by the company 10 years ago. So.
And we want to comply, and,
Yeah.
we want to comply. I just would love to figure out a way that it doesn't hold up really just the Ross opening, because they're eager to open this year. It's,
Unfortunately, it leaves us in a position where we lose the ability to enforce. I mean, this is the hook, essentially.
I mean, I also have a lease commitment with the tenant with the dark lettering on the right side, which is a boot barn, which I also hope to open this year. I mean, and I have a lease commitment with them. I mean, if we could tie it to that in some way, believe me, that'll light a fire under the people of Brixmore that can make these decisions to allow this to happen, which...
For a consistency standpoint, that's what we're gonna do it, how we always do it, unfortunately. I mean, I want to speak for the board can opine otherwise, but we like to be consistent.
We really haven't done it for anybody else. We're trying to get everybody to comply. It's been 20 years that people could have brought their properties into compliance. So, but we want to help you. We're not going to hold you up or anything like that, but you have to comply to the town code.
Maybe you should submit a schedule
Yeah.
A schedule for
for the lighting.
I'm going to submit a lighting plan that would show lights, photometrics, call out the make and model, all of that. Yep.
And then also, my only comment, just because I liaise with the ARB, I know they had asked for a full elevation of the facade with color, just so we can see the context of the changes to what the existing is.
That's what the right side is now, so we're not changing anything else.
So it's going to remain the different color?
The left side with the
We're
three new
open.
tenants
Yeah.
are currently, currently the design ends at the edge of the TJ Maxx, of the former TJ Maxx.
Right.
We're accommodating the new fashion tenant that's coming on the left side as well as the right, and worked with them on colors that both associate with their branding, because they're new to Long Island, as you know, but then not in too much contrast with the rest of the shopping center. As opposed to them being white or something like that.
So if we were to take the existing poles that we have at the center, lower them down to comply to the height restriction, make sure the heads are compliant, then until I can get those new poles at the new locations, then we're non-compliant in terms of the amount of lighting required at the site. So, and for the Ross on the end, I know I have a lighting requirement. We sent them our existing photometric plan, which will no longer be accurate.
Do you live locally or no?
I would say I grew up in Stony Brook. I live in Mineola now. I'm in this area all the time.
You really should do a site visit at
Yeah,
night.
At night.
It's different in the daytime.
I can do that. Yeah.
But I think you're asking the opposite, right? If if we were to lower the heads now to make everything that's existing compliant, would that allow us to, even though he has a requirement with the, what's that?
Go on.
Yeah,
I'll talk with you offline.
Yeah,
I'll talk
because
to you
we're
offline.
gonna create a different issue, right?
You are,
We're gonna cut the
one that I
lights
may not
down.
want to be a part of.
Yeah, so if we bring the lights
Safety issue
down,
is what I
we're
want.
gonna be too dark. But if it's a timing issue, we get the lights cut down before the end of
How
this
do
year.
you know it's gonna be too dark?
There's maybe,
It's a good point. We'll run the photometrics first.
But our assumption is if
we
they're
have a lighting
30 feet high now, and we're
Yeah,
cutting
no, I
them
have the
down
whole
to about
section.
half,
Okay.
that we'll have dark spots. We
Maybe.
in general, might meet the requirement, but we'll run the photometrics and see, but if we
We're here
don't.
to help. If you guys have creative ideas, let us know.
But my creative idea was just more of a phasing question. If we were to get those lights cut down, I don't want to say as soon as we can, because we don't want it to be too dark too long, while we then engineer the additional lighting that's required, would we at least meet the requirement of the town?
I don't think that I'm sorry, I don't think the concern is engineering it. I think the concern is constructing it.
Right.
So
Right,
I think the time that it's gonna take to hear back from the other departments that we're waiting on, my office will be putting together the lighting plan and the landscape plan and addressing these comments, and we'll make another
There you
resubmission
go.
and hopefully be back before the board for a final approval very shortly.
Okay.
I think once we have that final approval, it's enacting it in the field and constructing it, I think is what the challenge that TJ has,
Yeah.
just from a budget
I'd say
standpoint,
that's
and
accurate,
making
yeah.
that happen in a timely fashion. I think the
That sounds like
contractors
the
can move
fastest way
quickly.
to get the job.
There used to be a lot of lead time with electrical equipment, but I think they're fairly,
Okay.
I think these lights are fairly accessible to be purchased.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I just have one more ask on this project. If you look at this picture here, one of them's up there, if you look at the doors with the numbers of the occupancies on there for each one, they're attached to the door, and it really should be either fixed to the transom above it or on a solid wall. Because if a door is open and say the police had to respond to a certain address, they may not see that address. So at least if it's fixed, attached, right above the doorway or on a wall alongside the doorway, it's always there. And doors have a tendency to break and get replaced, and then the numbers always don't go back up on them.
Understood.
There's a lot of stores throughout the town where there are no numbers, and like you say, it's the old TJ Maxx.
Yep.
You could have people going to the other TJ Maxx without an address.
Yeah.
So with the new doors that you put in, if you can make that a point to
Yep.
put
Yeah, I
them.
don't see that being a problem.
Okay.
Good, good guys?
I'm good.
So I just have, for following for the project, that we wanted to, get some revised plans, showing obviously the planning board certification box, so that we can have them, once it's good to go, we can get everything signed off. And then another one is to amend the plans to show the code compliant lighting, including the mounting heights and the fixtures, just to get everything up to code, as we just all talked about. And then as well, the planning department was asking for a landscape plan of the parcel, showing the landscaped areas and the calculations that include the existing and proposed planning locations, with a planning schedule that's compliant with town code.
Did you get the trash receptacles? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, she wrote it down.
Yeah, I wrote the trash receptacles down.
Thank you.
But
In regard to the two code sections, so we're happy to put it on the drawing and identify the current state of percentage of landscaping on the property, but we're not, changing parking stalls or square footage of buildings or anything, so the intent would just be to note what it is as an existing condition.
Understood.
Yeah, and fluff it up a little bit if you need
Yep.
to.
Okay, anything else, folks?
Good on our end, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Have a good day.
When will, typically like 30 days to hear back from the other departments? Is that, or is there a prescribed time frame?
It's a type 2 action, so I mean, it's really, they were referred just for, informational purposes. but-
Okay. Actually, just so the board's aware, we did make an application to the sewer district yesterday for So we're separating the tenants' connections to an on-site manhole. So we did file with the sewer district.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that'll be more of a function when you get to the building department, but Marissa wanted the
Yeah.
board to be aware.
No,
because
and
we had-
I spoke with Frank Mancini about the water service too.
We've had other applicants come in to separate into different tenancies, and then they're surprised when they get, a sewer district connection letter and they owe money at the end,
Yeah.
so.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, do we have public comment on the resolutions? Okay, not seeing anyone. Gentlemen, can we run the resolutions, please?
I'll move resolution 2025-031, HK Ventures LLC, granting a second and final 6-month extension of the preliminary site plan approval. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Zilnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. De Niro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes,
And I vote yes, the motion carries.
I'll move resolution 2025-032, grant second and final extension for the preliminary site plan of Long Island Cauliflower Association.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Mr. Zilnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. De Niro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes,
And I vote aye, the motion carries.
I'll move resolution number 2025-033, Dry Specchio Manufacturers Outlet Center resolution granting a second and final 6-month extension for preliminary site plan approval. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Zilnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. De Niro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
yes,
And I vote aye, the motion carries.
I just want to make
Do you want to?
that we table the resolution number 034, Middle Country Road, Bola. They're putting a roof canopy on over the gas pumps there, and their other gas station has, on the canopy is a peaked roof, and that whole corridor along Route 25, every building has a peaked roof on it, and I would just think it would match the rest of the buildings going along that rural corridor there by having some type of a peaked roof, so it matches the other existing boiler station at Edwards Avenue and 25, and all the other commercial buildings that are on 25.
I would be opposed to tabling it, but I'm not opposed to adding it to the resolution.
Okay.
If Greg feels that's,
So I did speak with Member Hogan about this, and we did look at the Bola further east on Middle Country Road over by the charter school out there. They have, it's not a full peaked roof, it's kind of like a hip roof on it. Now, I mean, the structure is a lot closer to the roadway than the one at Bola Edwards is. I'm not opposed to it. This has not been something that's been discussed with
No.
the applicant, so, I mean, we can put it as a condition. I don't know if you'd rather have the discussion with the applicant and inform them.
no, I don't want to hold them up.
All right.
But we can include it, and if they're that much opposed to it, then we can, rediscuss it. But John has a good idea, and I want to congratulate Bola. Their projects, their trucks, their everything are #1. So we want everything that's going to be in Riverhead to be #1. So thank you, John, for that.
So if that's the case, then I would recommend,
Amend it?
I don't know if we want to table, I don't know how we want to correct that. I wouldn't recommend tabling it. I would recommend amending condition number 1. It says, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the site plan shall be signed by the planning board chairman. Prior to the signature of the plans shall be revised as follows. I would recommend adding letter D. The plans shall be revised to show a hip roof on the canopy structures in a form approved by the planning board. That way, before you sign a plan, we'll just have a quick follow-up resolution and
This way we get them going, but we still get a better-looking project.
Yep.
good.
All right, so I'll read the resolution with the amendment. All right. 2025-034, 4129 Middle Country Road, Bola Market, canopy and site improvement. Result of granting administrative site approval for the site plan application seeking to construct a canopy with amendments. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right, so moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Mr. Zilnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. De Niro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes,
And I vote aye, the motion carries.
I'll move resolution 2025-035 for Seacrest Estates, lot number 3. Resolution approving a grading and drainage plan for a single-family residence proposed on lot number 3. and
Second.
Seacrest Estates.
Second.
Moved in second, Mr. Zanicki.
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
And I vote aye, the motion carries.
I'll move resolution number 2025-036, Seacrest Estates, lot number 4, resolution approving the grading and drainage plan for a single-family residence proposed on lot number 4. So moved.
Second.
Moved in second, Mr. Zanicki.
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
And I vote aye, the motion carries. Okay, public comments on all matters. Any takers? Nothing important to say? Okay, Greg, we have a seeker action?
Yeah, I believe that's the EC battery application, just commenced the secret coordination.
All right, do we have to move that, or is?
No.
No.
It has to be a memo to the town board.
Okay, so that'll be putting the town as lead agency.
Town board, yes.
Okay. Our meeting minutes.
I'll move the minutes of March 20th, 2025.
Second.
Moved in second, Mr. Zanicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
And I vote aye, the minutes carry. Any other business, staff? Correspondence? Everything's good?
Earth Day is next Friday, if anybody cares.
What is it?
Earth Day is
Earth Day is next Friday.
April 25th.
So we're not going to talk about AstroTurf. Our next meeting is Thursday, May 1st at 6 PM. Motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Okay.
Good job.
Happy Easter, everybody.